Welcome to the Dr. Carolyn Coker-Ross Show, awakening your full potential and expanding your understanding of how to live fully and joyfully by making conscious choices that promote and maintain vitality in all areas of your life. Now here's your host, Dr. Carolyn Coker-Ross. Please be sure to listen to this episode in an environment that is safe. Do not listen to this recording while driving a car or operating any kind of machinery.
Welcome to the Vital Life Radio. My guest today is me, Tracy McCormick. This is her second guest appearance on the Vital Life, and I want to tell you a little bit about her. She is also known as Princess Know-It-All. Princess Know-It-All is about wide and expansive living. She encourages women to question what they don't know. She's all about choices, acknowledging that we have choices, and she helps us by enabling us to see ourselves and the characters that we create to protect our greatest selves. Princess Know-It-All is about personal ownership from food to beauty. She is inspiring and empowering. Me, Tracy McCormick, who is the alter ego of Princess Know-It-All, has a book coming out called Cooking from the Inside Out, which will debut sometime this year. Welcome to the show again.
Hello, Dr. Ross. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm cruising along, ready to chat you up.
Well, I know that when you were on the show last time, we talked about the fact that you had been diagnosed with Crohn's disease and how that affected your life. Can you just give us a little bit about that to get us started?
Sure. For about 14 years, I suffered from severe digestive pain, burning, constant burning, and occasional bowel obstructions, partial obstructions, and no one could really figure out what it was because I didn't have typical Crohn's symptoms. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, the doctors at Cedars-Sinai thought that it was intestinal cancer. Uh-oh. And then the doctors at Vanderbilt thought it was just aggressive Crohn's. And I was just about to take a full protocol of drugs, of pharmaceuticals, to try to stop the inflammation and bring it down in the digestive tract because they'd found a ulceration, the total circumference of my ileum. And just as I was about to do that, I asked a question, what's in it? And I wanted to know what was in the drugs. And I really had a hard time finding that out, but what I did find out are the side effects. They were public. And so I hooked up with a woman who is the head of the Shaw Wellness Center in Spain's Digestive Disorders program, and I learned to cook whole foods, ancestral foods, as you call them, that support the body, and I changed my life, and I didn't know how to cook before I embarked on this journey, and now I cook every day, and I just got all my medical tests back and my blood work back, and I am absorbing nutrition perfectly, and I'm symptom-free. So that's
wow, that's amazing. I think it's really interesting, though, that you kind of went against medical advice to do this.
Yeah.
And that's, in a way, what you're saying about Princess Know-It-All, that she asks questions about things she doesn't understand. She just doesn't say, okay, I'm going to do it.
Right. It was a turning point in my life. It was a turning point because I did just that. I really embarked on a journey to find out how capable I was and how resourceful I was.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, actually. Okay. I had no idea. I had no idea how capable I was. I had no idea that I could empower myself in the way that I did, and that I have.
What do you think has been, because one of the things I always say is that illness is a call to action. It's a call to change your life. It's illness is saying that something isn't working. Was this true for you? And if so, what changed in your life? Tell me more about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really showed me how resilient I am. It showed me, it totally brought absolutely a call to action. It changed everything. It changed everything from the way that I parent, from the way that I run my home, from my marriage and my place and my role in my marriage and in my relationship, my role in society as I became someone who created food programs, who went into society to participate. It changed, it changed, when I say the way it changed the way I parent, it sort of pushed me into holding a line with my family, and that line starts in the kitchen, and it goes into, it has tentacles,
It's like an octopus that starts in your kitchen, huh?
It started in my kitchen and it spread throughout my life.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really interesting because in the past, women were really very closely identified with food and cooking and being in the kitchen, and that was something that kind of went by the wayside with the women's empowerment movement, or whatever you want to call it, women's liberation movement. And now you're saying that this has been very empowering for you to go back to the kitchen.
Yeah, super. That is a great point, because I am a product of my mother was divorced in 1978, 79, and worked full-time and left the kitchen. And I think that it's about what happens is when we leave the kitchen, we really leave our house, and we leave the heart of the home. And I do both. I work and I run my kitchen. And it's a choices. Every day I make a choice when I get up earlier to make sure that there's supportive food in my house. Do I counter, do I decide to cut back the activities after school so that I can cook dinner while my kids sit at the countertop? And yeah, we were told that was a waste of time to be in our kitchen, that there were other things we should be doing, and that people that worked in the kitchen, they definitely weren't modern women, and they definitely weren't capable. And so what we've created is an entire generation, and that's my generation, and below me of women and above me of women that don't really know what to do with real food, and they don't know how to manage their time in their home. And I think that when we're raising children and we show them that our food is not important, that taking time in our kitchen and running our house and cleaning our house, there's huge value in taking care of your home and taking care of your space. And whenever I sort of get frantic and super busy outside of my life, the first thing I do is I take a day or a morning, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, and it's old school. It's what we used to do. And I get back in the house, and I organize my home, and I get in the kitchen, and I get in the kitchen with my kids. And it's empowering. It's empowering to them, and it's telling them, I value my health, I value my home, and I value you and your health.
That's so important, too. I as you know, I work with a lot of people with eating disorders and obesity, and one of the biggest issues that comes up is, well, I don't have time to cook, or I don't know how to cook, or it's too expensive for me to eat more vegetables or to eat more healthily. And I know in some of the work that you've done with the Noble Food Makeover, you've been able to show people that it isn't too expensive and it isn't too time-consuming.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, the thing is that if you're cooking simple foods, real foods, ancestral foods, whole foods are simple, and they need to be prepared in simple ways for our body to receive the nutrition. When we put complicated foods into our body, it's difficult for the body to sort it out. So simple foods are super easy to cook, and they're remarkably inexpensive. I mean, for the Noble Food Makeover, I cook for 40 people for $40, and nothing is out of a can, a box, or a jar. And so, and a lot of the food I cook is local and organic. And so it's just really, it's about education. It's about learning how to cook millet, how to cook quinoa. A cup of millet is 99 cents. Oh, a pound of millet is 99 cents.
Oh my gosh.
A pound of millet will feed your family for a week. And the benefit of it is that it's not a carbohydrate. It's actually a seed and a protein, but it cooks down like a grain, and so it's put in the grain family, but it doesn't feed unhealthy bacteria, and it's not a carbohydrate. So it's really good for diabetics. It's good for stomach acid. It's great for people with fibromyalgia. So these simple foods for 99 cents have these amazing benefits. And, three-quarters of the world lives on millet except for us. And the only part of our culture that lives on millet are cows in feedlots.
Yeah, and we live on gluten or wheat, which is causing a lot of problems.
We live on it. The key word is we live on it.
Yeah, or we don't live very well on it is more the key. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the examples that you can give about how your diet has changed. And we have about just a few minutes until the first break, but I know many people eat from fast food restaurants. I've had patients who say they don't eat anything that doesn't come in a bag or a box. So what are some of the steps that you teach people to shift from what I call, the fast food generation to eating more fresh and naked, or eating closer to the ancestral diet?
I think the first thing that I tell people is just start being mindful. Just start paying attention to what you're eating. First thing is pay attention to with your hand to mouth and what's going in the mouth. So is it a lot of wheat products? Is it a lot of dry products, dry, crunchy? Is it, because that absorbs water in the digestive tract? Is it, how often are you eating vegetables? What type of vegetables? So the first thing I say is be mindful. And then the next thing that I talk about is sort of trying to cut back on the gluten. Just pay attention. See, the more mindful you become of your relationship with food, the easier it is to make changes. So the first thing is mindfulness. The second thing are, paying attention to the sugar, the wheat, and the dairy, and how much of that is going into your body. And then what I do is, instead of completely removing things from the diet, I like to introduce new things to the table. And so I'll introduce cooking, say, with millet, or making soups, or adding sea vegetables. So it's not like, I have to stop all this stuff. It's just introduce one thing. And if you're cooking for a family, then I'll say, well, let's introduce this week. Try this week. And just put it on the table. It's really not about going to battle with your family to do this major overhaul. It's just being consistent. And so every week you're adding something to the dinner table. And so when you add that, you might remove something else. And learn to make one thing that's not processed. One side item on that table is completely unprocessed in a Whole Foods.
That's a really good advice, and pretty simple steps that people can follow. Welcome back to The Vital Life. I'm here with my guest, me, Tracy McCormick, the alter ego of Princess Know-It-All. And we've been talking about her journey from healing to healing from a digestive disorder. I just wanted to also let you know that she has a self-empowerment blog at www.princessknowitall.com. So before the break, we were talking about introducing new foods into the family and how you don't say, don't eat this, you say, try this, which I think is brilliant. And I just wanted to talk about how you handled any resistance that came up in your family, whether it be with your husband or with kids, to changing the diet.
I think the greatest thing that I've learned is to really be the mirror, be the grace in your family. And that again has tentacles into everything. But when I first embarked on this food journey, I learned that I could eat this food and I didn't have pain. So it was something I had to do. And I also knew it was something I needed to implement for my family, because there I was eating this beautiful meal and I was making them boxed macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what's wrong with this?
Yeah.
There's no nutrition in what they're eating, and here I am eating this. The new gourmet is what this food really is. Real food is the new gourmet. Simple, clean food is the new gourmet. And I thought, well, if we were in a restaurant, that would be child abuse. It's like giving them a bowl of water and then I'm having a full steak dinner. Yeah. So what I did is I decided, okay, I have to be the person. So I have to eat it. I have to embark on this journey. And then I just introduced it gradually. I would say, we're having brown rice and aduki beans, and we're having broccoli today. So I would pick a vegetable that they already liked, first of all. And then I knew one thing on the plate they liked, and they were already game for. And then I would give them small servings. And I don't make it an issue. I still am introducing new things. And I'll say, here you go, or here, I just need you to take a few bites of this. Just try it. And then, they would say, well, go make me chicken nuggets. I want a pizza. Well, I had to do, the work was with myself. Mm-hmm. I had to stop buying it at the market, because if it was in the freezer, then they were going to nag me. I was already worn out from the day, and I was going to go make them the chicken nuggets. So it really starts with being a parent. And I know that those aren't healthy things for my kids to eat. So I can't have them to default. They can't be in the freezer. So I stopped buying them. And that was an interesting process, because I knew I couldn't eat it, but there I wanted to buy them the cookies. It was almost like they were eating through me. Yeah. So that was the first thing. It's not in the house. So they know it's not in the house. And then it was the fallback, well, I'll just have a bowl of cereal. So it took me learning to hold a line with my children and say, no, this is what we're having for dinner. This is what I'm cooking. I'm cooking one meal, and you're welcome to eat it, or you don't have to eat it. You can sit at the table and finish a conversation with us, and the plate will be here if you want it later, but you can't have cereal later. So it's really simple, old-school parenting. It's old-school food and old-school parenting without a fight. There's no anger. There's no animosity. I have to pay attention to the energy and the way that I deliver the food. Like Lola, she just would not eat the seaweed in the miso soup. I never made a big deal of it. I just gave her the broth in a little cup, and I'd say, drink this, drink this. Now she eats a whole bowl of it. She didn't like peas, so I just kept putting the peas in things. So she picked them out. Now she likes the peas. Oh, I like the peas.
So now, but a lot of parents say, it's funny because in America, starving to death from not eating peas is very unlikely, at least with most of the people that are listening to our show and most of the people we know. Hunger is something that can teach children, but many parents are afraid to not give them the cereal because, well, they're hungry,
I think that it's old school parenting. It's about you holding a line with your children when they're little. They don't have an ATM card. They don't have car keys and a car to drive to the market and buy the food. It's my house. I make the decisions in the kitchen. And I've found that it's super important because when we go into the world, when I go out into the world with the kids and they go to birthday parties or someone's house or they're at the park, it's really difficult to control the food. So I don't. I just relax and we're at your house and that's what you cooked. But I know that it's my responsibility to hold a line in my kitchen and in my home. And I tell them that. I say, you know what, you're really fortunate to have kale. A lot of children don't have kale, and that brings you to food desert conversations, and it's true. So that brings us to the divide, the class divide, which is at the table of what's being served in what homes. And it doesn't have anything to do with money. It has everything to do with education.
Yes, exactly, because many people who are on welfare. I mean, we've had shows on TV here in Denver that people have challenged themselves to eat healthy on food stamps.
Sure.
And it's hard to do. It's no doubt that it's a lot harder than just driving through McDonald's and getting, a Big Mac. But it's also healthier. And if you had that education, we don't even have home economics in school anymore to teach people how to eat or cook.
No, we don't. People don't even know what it is. And, there's an argument that I have with that. If you go to McDonald's and you're a family of four, the meal is $6. So that's $24. That $24 is gone within a half hour. But if you have $24 and you go to the grocery store and you know how to cook beans, you know how to make rice, you know how to cook vegetables, that food, and you can make a pot of soup, you'll have food in your house for 2 days at least. So it's the education of it. It's quicker to go spend that $24 at McDonald's, but it's like you said, it's not healthier and it's not resourceful. And, we have a home in Mexico City, and I had this huge light bulb go off when I was just in Mexico City. There's 24 million people there. 23.9 of them are way below the poverty level, beyond poverty in this country. And yet they still find a way to grow their own food, use fresh herbs, they cook beans, and they eat rice. And infants in Latin America are fed the broth of black beans because of the iron and the magnesium. And so it sort of disputes the poverty issue around food. It's a choice issue. It's a value issue. It's a question of value and choice. Because in third world countries, if you go to Africa, they're dropped bags of grain in sub-Saharan Africa, and they eat grains. And so we have obese people, but they seem to be malnourished.
Oh, totally. I mean, the studies have shown that being overweight doesn't mean being overnourished, just the opposite. Well, let's shift a little bit and talk about how does Princess Know-It-All fit in with your journey to healing from Crohn's and the changes you've made in your eating habits.
Well, I realized that the choice around food, it wasn't really just about food. It was really about my entire life. It was about what I don't know about me. Princess Know-It-All is tongue-in-cheek for what I don't know. And that is about what I didn't understand about myself, about my emotions, about the masks and the characters that I'd created. It's about what I didn't know beauty-wise, fashion-wise. And so I had been a magazine writer, and I decided to take all the columns that I write for other people and create my own website with all of these different factors. So a full lifestyle. And so Princess Know-It-All is really a place for me to express all the ways that I'm learning constantly and to inspire women to ask questions, to inspire them to look at themselves. And I think getting well from a digestive disease or any disease isn't just the food, it isn't just the medication, and it isn't just the emotional work. It's the combination. It's deciding who you want to be and becoming it. And that's our willpower.
Did you have any fear about going in these new directions?
Sure. I had a lot of fear. Like, yeah, girl, I'm in the middle of it all the time. I had a lot of fear. I said when I embarked on the food journey, okay, I'll do it for a year, and I'll know that if I really do it, because that's the thing. People say, oh, I tried it. I have fibromyalgia, and I tried the diet, and it didn't work. Well, how long did you try it for? And how committed to it were you? Or they'll say, I have colitis, and I tried this, and it didn't work. Well, again, it wasn't a 3-month journey. I mean, I'm still in it. It's 4 years, and I'm still in it, and I'm still going through things, and I'm still getting well, and it's a process. We're just accustomed to, again, it goes into our convenience food, but we want convenience healing.
We want the quick fix for everything in America.
Yeah, we just want a quick fix, and it's a process, and it's been a fantastic journey. And, I just finished writing my book and putting it out there, and that's a scary thing. I mean, writing from an honest place and living from an honest place, it can be really frightening because we're taught to mask things.
What were some of the fears that you had to overcome?
Around which part?
Pick one.
Around writing, first of all, writing really about who I am and how I see things, judgment. Big judgment. First self-judgment and then exterior judgment. But as I whittle away at the self-judgment, because it's an ongoing process, it's like patience. You constantly have to work at it. Then the exterior judgment becomes less and less important. It becomes none of my business. The food thing was tough because as I did it, people said, well, you're crazy. You've lost 25 pounds. Why are you doing this? Why don't you go take the drugs? And it's not that I'm against drugs. I think that we're really fortunate to live in a country where we have access to pharmaceuticals. But again, it's how are you helping yourself and how are you working with your doctor? When you go to your doctor, say to him, what can I do? And if he doesn't have anything for you to do, find out what you can do on your own and take the action. So I think standing up to people and saying, I'm going to do it this way and I'm going to do my best. I think that's the fear. And then, the fear of dying. We're just completely terrified of dying. We're worn out with the fear of getting sick, yet we're not doing anything to be proactive in our health and preventative. So, there's a lot of fear, girl.
Well, I ask you that question because, of course, I've had my own healing journey, and I remember just so much fear in going against or not following kind of the party line, especially being a medical doctor and, having people say, well, take this drug or, take that drug or, get surgery or whatever. And there's a lot of fear that you don't know enough or that you're going to make the wrong choice and that it's going to cost you or that you're going to die. And so I just think it's interesting how we all address that fear, or we need to address that fear, and whether we're successful in addressing it really defines our journey. So my guest today is Princess Know-It-All, or her alter ego, me, Tracy McCormick. And before we went to break, we had just started talking a little bit about the characters of Princess Know-It-All. Can you tell us about a couple of the Princess Know-It-All characters and how they came about?
So the characters are really just aspects of my personality that, in truth, I created to really function in society. I mean, they're the little masks that we develop probably around the age of 3, and we continue to develop them. And even though I have an awareness around them, I'm still creating them. Like my most recent character is Hi, I Can Do It All. And she is the one that never says no. Instead of asking for help, she just goes ahead and does it all. And she wears herself out. And in relationship with people, resentment is developed. And that's not healthy. So she's not so healthy. And the other characters that I have a little bit of is Hi, I'm Too Much. Sometimes I'm a little over the top, and I lose my filter. And I really just want to say it. I just want to go right there, and I'm just too much. Just too
How do people react to that one?
Well, it depends who they are. And that's the other thing.
I always like that part of you.
You like that? Yeah, I kind of like her too. At times, the thing about these characters is that they're not always bad. They all have a place and time, and especially when we're living from, again, the choice to see ourselves. When you recognize where you're coming from. Isn't that funny? We have to actually recognize where we're coming from in a situation. When I can see where I'm coming from, then I usually embrace these characters and I use them wisely. But when I'm not being conscious and I'm not paying attention to the situation and I'm not really clear in my day, then the characters are the ones driving the bus. So when Hi, I'm Too Much is too much, it's usually because she's in reaction to a situation. And then there's always the counter side of her, which is Hi, I'm Not Enough.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, because then she's the judgment. She's the self-judgment of Hi, I'm Too Much. So, and who else is in there? Ooh, is it going to hurt?
What's that one? Ooh, is it going to
hurt?
hurt?
I don't want any confrontation. I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to, she is it going to hurt? She's just avoidance, and she's really fear-driven and shaky in the knees. And then there's, the opposite of her, which is the bullfighter. And she is, I am the bullfighter, everybody's bull. And she's Hi, I'm offended. I mean, she's so offended. She walks around with that red cape flagging it, and everybody's the bull because she is coming from a place of, she's sensitive and touchy, and she's got issues. And every once in a while, I'm the bullfighter, and you can ask my husband.
Yeah, and who is he in that place when you're the bullfighter?
Oh, he's my petty tyrant. Or my pet demon. Depends how you look at it, girl. But, and my favorite is Hi, I'm Fine Without You.
Oh, yeah. That's a favorite of mine, too.
Because
I don't know if I haven't told you that I started going on the dating websites again, and I've been being matched with all of these truck drivers. Nothing against truck drivers. I don't want to say, anything politically incorrect against truck drivers, but that's just not my type of guy, And so I've really been wallowing in, I don't need a guy,
I am fine without you.
Yeah, I'm fine without you. I don't really need to have a man.
Or the other character is Please Don't Make Me Connect.
Yeah, I know. That's the other one.
Because the Hi, I'm Fine Without You sort of runs into Please Don't Make Me Connect. It's just really, do I have to go there? And then I'm going to have to sever it at the head. And the lesson of Hi, I'm Fine Without You is I've really learned, just don't sever things at the head, because then they can't grow back. Just, sort of ease back out, be as honest as possible, and give things space. And that's the opposite. That's the healthy approach to Hi, I'm Fine Without You.
So I'm fine without you when she severs it at the head is when she says those things that can't be taken, the kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah, you sever it at the head. It's just like you go all the way there with the machete. And sometimes we don't have to. If we can just be mindful of our reactions, step away from situations, then there's room for things to grow back and for friendships to develop and to sort of come back. It's like seeds, right? You plant it's like an orchid. You cut the stem and then you there's room for it to come back. But if you drown the orchid is never coming back. Yeah,
I know. I have some work that I do with some of my patients who tend to lash out because they get upset. They take things personally and they get upset about, someone not doing something the way they want it done. And then they lash out in a very harsh way that's very hurtful, and then are surprised that, oh, people don't want to be with me, So is that an example of cutting it off at the head?
You can't pour acid on a plant and expect the plant to bear fruit.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be really but that's the mindfulness. And, all these characters really, really can affect us all the way, again, tentacles through our life, our relationships, our parenting, our work, our friendships, and our food choices. Because when I embarked on this diet, and still today, I have characters that come up, is it going to hurt? Please don't make me connect when I don't want to get in the kitchen. So they all have different sides and different aspects and ways that they interact with the world. And
less people think that you did this diet and it was so easy for you to do and all of that. I remember you talking about, having that being in the car and wanting to go to Wendy's so bad that you just, even your daughter said, please don't go, Mom. You're not supposed to go. And you still.
Oh, yeah.
You remember
that? Get the dirty
that?
off. Yeah, that's, ooh, get the dirty off. Ooh, get the dirty off. That's who that is. Ooh, get the dirty off. Hurry up and take a shower. I had a burger. But, the thing is that it was super hard. First of all, I got a D- in home ec. Good thing they got rid of that class because I couldn't do it. I did not know how to cook at all. And now, look, I cook on TV. I've written books. I'm teaching people all over the country, but I did not know how to cook. I could not follow a recipe. Something about a recipe pissed me off. Immediately when it was in front of me, I just started to panic. And I was like, oh, what do they mean a half a cup? What does that mean? I got to hydrate the seaweed. No, that's a word I don't know. And I've never seen seaweed. So it was really difficult for me. I still crave Wendy's single with cheese, please. But what I do is I make a grass-fed burger at home. I load it with tons of veggies that I grate into it. I add a little quinoa as a filler, and I cover my plate with 3/4 greens because that's how you eat meat.
I think it's really important, though, for people to recognize that, they can still eat food that tastes good.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be junk food, because I think that's a big misconception. On my audio program that I did with Andrew Weil, it's called The Joy of Eating Well. And it's really about the fact that if you eat the foods that please you, then you will feel satiated. You will feel satisfied.
Oh, yeah, you got to cook. I mean, you've got to use spices and flavors. And, I think what happened is, I guess in the 70s or 80s or 60s or whenever the big health food movement kicked in, it scared us all to the bejesus because that food tastes like wood.
Yeah, it did.
And so we were like, no, we can't eat that. Don't do that to me. And so when I thought I had to eat real food, I thought I had to eat wood or food that tasted like grass. And it's just not true. It's just removing the additives and the preservatives and the sulfites and all of these things that are in the food, and it's monitoring the dairy. And for me, I don't use it at all because I can't digest it. But it's just being mindful of what you're putting in your body, and did it come from its original source?
And I think the other thing that people don't recognize is you have to educate your palate, too.
Oh, yeah.
If you're used to eating foods that are really salty and greasy and whatever, it takes a little while for your palate to change. But I have, in my weight program, I have a patient who came to me one day and said, I'm really pissed off at you, Dr. Ross. And I'm like, why? And she said, because I'm craving vegetables.
Don't you love it? It's true, the palate. We have some ghetto-fied palates, y'all.
Yes.
I mean, we have just taken our palate all the way down below where it doesn't want to go. And I didn't know that either. And the thing is that we think we're giving up so much, but we're not. I only ate 5 different types of foods: potatoes, burgers, spaghetti. Occasional salad was my vegetable. I mean, no wonder I got sick. And, put some cheese on it, put some butter in it. I mean, really, chicken. Those are like the 5 things or 6 things that the average American person eats. They only eat the 5 things in different variations. And so changing my diet actually expanded it, and now I eat a plethora of foods I've never had before, and I can taste things. And when the other day, talk about get the dirty off, it was Halloween, and my girls went trick-or-treating, and they came in the house with a big old Reese's cup, and I popped 5 digestive enzymes.
5 digestive enzymes?
Yeah, by the way, folks, digestive enzymes help you digest your food. They're like a vitamin that breaks the food down helps break it down in the stomach, so when it goes into the small intestine, you can absorb. So I take them with my meals. And so I put 5 digestive enzymes to eat 1 Reese's cup. And the first bite was like, oh, yeah, I remember. There you are, girl. And then by the third bite, I could taste that there was really no peanut butter in there, that wasn't real cacao. Where was the cacao? Because now I use cacao, which is the origin of cocoa, in my food. And I didn't like it. And Lee walked by me, and he said, you just took how many enzymes did you... But I didn't like it at all. I was like, that's
peanut
nasty.
Butter cups.
Yeah, I was like, that's disgusting. What is that all
That's extreme. Okay, that's extreme. We're back with my guest, me, Tracy McCormick, and her alter ego, Princess Know-It-All. Before the break, you were telling us about your craving for Halloween candy, the Reese's peanut butter cups, and you mentioned a digestive enzyme, which is something that I recommend to my patients and is in my recovery support pack formula. But you have a special one you use that's made by Enzomedica.
Enzomedica,
And that's
it's called Gastro.
It's called Gastro, and it's Enzymedica. Is that available at health food stores?
Yeah, you can get it at any health food stores. Whole Foods is where I get it, and it's a tiny capsule, so it's easy to swallow, and you want to take it, before you eat. Depending on how much you're going to eat, if you're going to drink alcohol, you want to take an extra. And it's amazing. I've tried all of them, different kinds of them, and this one is fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. It's great for grains and raw veggies.
Good. Well, I wanted to ask you, because Thanksgiving is coming up, and I wanted to know what Thanksgiving looks like in a healthy eating house.
Okay, it's easy. I make real sweet potatoes, and I puree them, and I add a little ghee, which is clarified butter, and it has been known to help heal digestive ulcerations. And when it's clarified, it removes the allergy to dairy. So it cooks it down, and then you don't have that reaction. And then that's all I add. And I might add a little brown rice syrup if I want to make it desserty, but I puree it, and it's fantastic. I will make organic turkey for my family, and I'll make it traditional style, but I won't put butter on it. Let's see, what else will we have? We'll have a big pot of collard greens with garlic and olive oil possibly. I will have mashed potatoes. Again, I might put a little ghee in them.
Now, for mashed potatoes, you could also add coconut milk or coconut cream, right?
Yeah, you can. You totally can. It changes the flavor, though, so it will have
does it?
It has a coconut essence to it.
Okay.
And then salt and pepper, and then the collard greens and the turkey, and I'll make something called apple kuzu dessert, which is apples and the kuzu root with ground flaxseed on top, and it's really like a cobbler. And the flaxseed makes it sound not good, but it does. It makes it taste crunchy.
It is absolutely amazing. I can testify to that. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's like apple pie with this kuzu root that strengthens the digestive tract and boosts the immune system. So all the food that I cook, I'm always thinking, it's really about changing the way we look at food. For the last 20 years, we've been looking at food from a vanity point of view. What is it going to make me look like? But we stopped thinking about food, what is it going to make me feel like? And if we look at food from what is it going to do in my body, then we don't have to worry about the vanity, because it's going to have a job, and it's going to clear your skin. You're not going to have weight gain. Your blood is going to be balanced and supported. Your hormones are balanced and supported. Your vision is clear. Your emotional vision is clear. So now we have to look at what is it going to do for my body as opposed to how is it going to make me look on the outside.
Yeah, and that's really important. Obviously, that's something I do in my weight management program that I really am passionate about, that we shouldn't be focused on food or not eating just so we can lose weight, but it should be about health. Health first, then weight.
Right.
That's my motto.
That is. The weight goes. The weight is, if we're eating in in nature, if we're eating ancestrally, if we're eating with the rhythm of our body and our food source, there is no weight gain. It's just it's not part of it. It's just not even a conversation.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a number of healing foods, and I know some of my favorites are. You introduced me to the seaweed. My 11-year-old granddaughter can eat a whole box of that seaweed snack. That it's just a little. It's like crunchy seaweed. The first bite is sort of fishy, but after that, it's really kind of addictive, really.
Mm-hmm. It's like eating a shrimp chip. The first one, you're like, oh, is that shrimp? Is that beach?
Yeah. And then the other thing is the Umeboshi plum vinegar, which I put on a lot of foods now, and I just really love that. And tell us a little bit about some of the healing foods and what.
Well,
maybe
the
give us 2 or 3
examples. The benefit of the sea vegetables, seaweed snacks, toasted nori, getting sushi, putting seaweed in your vegetable soups and everything is seaweed is packed with selenium, and selenium is a major immune booster. It's also got iodine in it. We need iodine. We are lacking iodine. Iodine is a natural antifungal. Iodine also helps women with, say, fibrocystic breasts. There's a lot of links to increase the iodine if you have this going on. It helps balance the estrogen, supports. It's said not to diminish the thyroid issue. So, it's got magnesium and calcium. So sea vegetables, adding them to your food and to your diet are the most important thing you can do. The next thing that you just said is, what is the next thing you just said that I do?
The Umeboshi plum vinegar.
The Umeboshi plum vinegar, y'all, is so get down good. I am addicted to. First of all, it's a pH balancer. It cuts the acid in your body, so you want to get it into your body. I love to pour it on greens. I like it on corn on the cob mixed with sesame oil. We invented that.
Yeah, we invented that. That was an accident in the kitchen.
Yeah, and that's so good. It's good. You can put it on salad. You can ferment pickles with it. You can sprinkle it on your grains. You can put it on your beans. You can steam vegetables. I love it on top of cauliflower. But again, all this food is looking at how can I cut the acid in my body, balance my pH, because it said that if our bodies, well, you're the doctor, the more balanced our pH, our inner system is, it's sort of like a pond of water. If the water, the pH is balanced, there's no bacteria and viruses in it. But
there's no scum.
Yeah, a stagnant bowl of water, pond of water, or stagnant body full of water and blood is where viruses and bacteria can thrive. So
I think you're channeling your Dr. Princess Know-It-All right now.
Well, you're my doctor, and I just you're my girl.
Yeah.
But it's
Ditto.
all those things. But those are things that it's funny. And you've really empowered me in this way. We don't have to be a doctor to learn things like this and just add things into our food.
Yeah, I think the important thing that you're teaching is being more adventurous with food. I have a club I work with my eating disorder patients called Adopt a Vegetable Club, that I just encourage them, once a week, try a new vegetable and try a new recipe. So we're coming to the close of this fun program, and I know you've recently moved from Nashville, which has been heartbreaking for me because I don't get to go to your house for dinner every month, and you've moved to Malibu, and I just wondered what adventures await Princess Know-It-All, or what adventures has she been having in California? We just have a couple minutes before the end, so.
Oh yeah, well I'm really excited to be here. What is happening? Well, our main home is in Nashville. Our cattle ranch is there. Our biodynamic organic farm is still there, and I go back once a month for the Noble Food Makeover, which I just returned from, and I'm cooking on the morning show in Nashville when I'm in town. And we came to Malibu to launch my book, Queen of the Double Wide. Tonight will be hosting a Noble Food Makeover here at a preschool in Malibu, and it'll be the sister Noble Food Makeover of Nashville's Noble Food Makeover. And I am in development to create something for television. So,
oh, wow, exciting.
Exciting. A little buzz out there, y'all, a little buzz.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if anybody wants to know more about Princess Know-It-All, go to her website and check out her blog at www.princessknowitall.com. Are there any other last-minute comments you want to make before we close, Me?
No, I just love talking to you.
Me too. I can't wait to see you tomorrow when I come to Los Angeles.
Yay, we're going to Real Food Daily, girl.
Yeah, we're going to be eating good, as always, when we get together. That's one of the big things I look forward to with you. I associate you with eating well. Isn't that great?
Isn't that good? And laughing. Really... We laugh a lot at dinner.
Yeah, we're pretty silly, let's face it. So your book is coming out hopefully soon. That's Queen of the Double Wide. What about the cookbook, Cooking from the Inside
Well,
Out?
the first book is actually Queen of the Double Wides, and it's a memoir, and the end is recipes. So the final chapter is recipes. As I talk about my process, I mention recipes, and then they're all in the back. So it's a get-me-started book. So it's a memoir with recipes. And the second book is the cookbook, and that will come out following. So hopefully this spring you'll be able to pick up my book. And,
Yay.
And then I'll be launching the full-on cookbook after that.
Good. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, Me, for being on the show. And thanks to all of our listeners of The Vital Life, Awakening Your Full Potential. Next week, our guest will be, the subject of next week's show is men with eating disorders. And the founder of the National Association for Men with Eating Disorders, Chris Clark, will be on the show and talk about his experience with anorexia. And Ron Saxon, who is the author of the book, The Good Eater, will also talk about his experience with an eating disorder and about his book. So that's all we have for today. I'm your host, Dr. Carolyn Coker-Ross, and I'll talk to you next week. Until then, I wish you good health and vitality.
You have been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Coker-Ross Show. Please visit CarolynRossMD.com. That's CarolynRossMD.com to access podcasts, show archives, and more about Dr. Ross and her services.